What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Invincible Podcast, probably the best superhero podcast in the universe. This is a show where friends talk all things Invincible, the comic book, the animated series, board games, video games, everything. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan. Joining me today is TJ.
Oh, hello, it's TJ.
We've got Bill.
Hi, everyone.
And Wyatt.
Hey, guys. I'm happy to be back. It has been a little while since we've done just an Invincible podcast proper. We had two Battle Beast ones back to back. So it's good to be back on the Invincible podcast.
That's right. We've been doing all of our monthly breakdowns and reviews and full thoughts on the latest Battle Beast issues that have been coming out. Issue 6, the finale to this arc, is coming out very soon. Looking forward to talking all about that one. On this episode, we have our full interview with Adam Bradford, the narrative director and writer over on the Invincible Roleplaying Game. Very excited to talk more about that. We've got a issue spotlight brought to us by TJ this episode.
Hello, it's still TJ.
Excited to see which one you've picked. And other than that, not too much in the way of news since we last recorded, but we're right on the cusp. It's about to happen. We were just talking before we started recording that the dam is about to break on Invincible stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so exciting to be this close to New York Comic Con, especially the way they've been hyping it up. I feel like at the very least, we're going to have some newsworthy things to really dig into and start the official speculation of season 4 and the hype for it,
Yep. TJ and I will be there. We know that there is an Invincible panel with Robert Kirkman and Stephen Yun, Gillian
At New York
Jacobs,
Comic Con.
Yep, and we're expecting a trailer, hopefully, and any other Invincible related news will obviously come to the show to talk about. And we want to hear from you too. So email us at theinvinciblepodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts on all of it.
So again, are we expecting a trailer? I think we're expecting the teaser diner scene, right?
We talked about
not
that
a trailer
on a past episode. I'm expecting at minimum the teaser. I hope the teaser because I want to keep seeing that, but I feel like we could get the full trailer because of how soon I expect season 4 to be.
I think minimum is the poster because we still haven't gotten an official poster for season 4 yet. So I think for sure a poster. Step above that, diner sequence. Step above that, sizzle reel trailer of actual footage from the season.
Not to really dig back into it, but you said because of how soon you're expecting season 4.
You know what? You're right, because I feel like we normally don't get the full trailer until a couple months beforehand. You're right. So maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully it is the diner scene and then the full trailer closer to December, January.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Have we made predictions on the release date?
Yeah. No.
And we did it.
For season 4.
I'm sure we did on our looking back.
I don't know.
I'm sure we said something about what, if anything, will we see of season 4? I think was one of the questions that we did in January.
The problem with our looking back is that we were so focused on season 3.
Season 3. Yeah.
Yes. So I don't know if we made predictions for season 4.
All right. Hit me. I'm pulling up my calendar right now. Predictions right now. Season 4 of.
I think we did do this already.
I'm saying Friday, and if I did, let's see if I said the same one. I'm saying Friday, March 13th. Friday the 13th. We're going to hell, baby.
Oh, that would be good.
That would be great if that was if they did the whole 3 episode drop, and it's that's episode 2 or 3 or something. I'll say a week after what you're saying, Ryan. I'm gonna Price is Right you, and I'll be Friday the 20th then.
Okay. That would have been my guess as well, Wyatt. Only because it's my birthday weekend. Project Hail Mary is coming out that weekend.
Woo!
And how sweet would the world be if we also got Invincible?
Yeah.
That weekend.
Be pretty great.
It'll be a good month either way. We hit 10 years. We got Project Hail Mary. We got Invincible season 4 on the horizon. TJ,
Crazy.
You got a date?
Bill, you're saying the same as Wyatt?
I wanted to say March 20th, yeah.
Okay.
Well, the 19th. It would be the 19th.
Keep in mind that these are the Thursdays. So Ryan would be the 12th and Wyatt would be the 19th.
It's always been Thursday.
I think this is going to be boring. I think we're all going to agree that it's going to be March because I'll say the 26th then. I'll say the 26th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is that what you're feeling though, or do you just not want to be like?
So the how they were talking early in the year, early in 2025, made me like they were like, oh yeah, it could be sometime, and I feel like they alluded to it possibly being later in the year, but I don't remember if they did or not. I just feel like I remember us talking about like something that somebody said that made us think that it could be later in 2026. So I'm just gonna go on the little later side.
All right. Well, might get a date as early as next week as of this recording. So pretty soon we'll know if we were right or not. From there, I did want to bring up something else that's happening in New York is they're really going all out with Invincible Versus for New York City. They're calling a New York City Takeover October 9th and 10th. They're doing a character reveal and story live stream on October 9th at 3 p.m. with Robert Kirkman. So Versus is doing like an actual conversation that seems as to what the story is like, which they've been very, quiet about as of late. So I'm excited to see if we can find out a little bit more, as well as find out which the new character is. Do you guys want to make your official guess before? Who do you guys think it's going to be?
I'll say one thing. This isn't my guess though, but the night before last, I've been saving this. I had a dream that we were playing Invincible Versus, and the reveal, and this isn't my guess because I don't think this will come true, was Kid Omni-Man, and he had like abnormally large legs.
And I'm like,
I was like, is that why they did that? And I was like, but obviously that's not my guess though. But let me think about it. Wyatt, you go first.
What I want and what I think are two different ones. I want Robot or Oliver. I think those would be the most exciting for me, but I'm predicting either Alan or Conquest. I feel like Alan and Conquest
exact are the thing. Why? Except take out Oliver. I really want to see a gadget person. Like I want to see how Robot fights. It'd be so different from everybody else. Yeah. But I could see them for marketing reasons going behind Alan or Conquest.
Yeah, for sure. They're I think the more recognizable.
I was just gonna say, do you really think that we would get Conquest before? I was gonna say Angstrom because I don't think we would get Conquest before Angstrom.
That's my want. That's my want is Angstrom. I don't think it'll happen, but that's the one I want to see the most.
I think we could get Conquest before Angstrom because I think Conquest is the hot and new. You know what I mean? He's
that's the thing,
the fresh hotness.
But then again, what if they save that till right before the release of the game?
Yeah, that too. That could be your pre-order bonus.
Yeah,
as it's like about to come out. Yeah, it's so hard to predict. I think that those three are probably the most likely of Alan, Conquest, or Angstrom. Those seem like the biggest ones. But at the same time, I never would have guessed Thula would be one of the first ones.
And Lucan is in the trailer.
Yeah, so it does feel like they're choosing ones that they can do creative things gameplay wise with, which makes me feel like Battle Beast could be, or not Battle Beast, sorry, but Robot could be, or Angstrom could be like very unique mechanically. But I also don't develop fighting games, so like they know more than I do. I'm just at this point excited to see who else will be on the roster for sure.
Yeah. They are also doing a bunch of in-person public demos and a takeover and everything like that. All those dates are online. TJ, you and I are going to be playing this. Who is your starting three characters?
I mean, obviously Rex. Do I go with the obvious ones? Like
you're gonna have to.
Is it Battle Beast and Invincible? Rex and Battle Beast for sure. And if it's three, I feel like I have to play as Invincible.
Yeah. I feel like my first pick is going to be Invincible. Again, probably going to include whoever is new because I want to see that, especially if it's Robot or Alan. So Invincible, whoever's new. I actually love the gameplay of Thula. Like that's my kind of player in a fighting kind of game. Having that mid to long range, she looks really, really fun. So we'll see. Exciting. Either way, like I said, can't wait to come back and talk about it and hear from everybody.
Bill, since me and you are not going to get to play it, I feel like we have to involve ourselves in this somehow. I think we should take bets on who we think is going to win between Ryan and TJ when they play each other.
I don't know.
Really?
It's a brand new game. Neither of
Can I get in on this?
TJ, you and I both play fighting games about the same amount.
You guys get to go actually play it. Me and Bill have to just live vicariously through you, so we get to bet on the two of you.
I don't really
we need
think
somebody to film it.
yeah, we need
TJ. Ryan? I don't know. I honestly don't know who's better at fighting games. I think probably Ryan.
I feel like when we played Mortal Kombat on that stream together, we were all fairly in the same casual league. I feel like
Ryan does this thing though, where he like studies the moves before they come out. Like he probably has like a rule book where he's like up, down, left, over, dash,
even
right.
when he just said like Tula is my kind of gameplay, you can tell that he's analyzed some of the gameplay a little bit.
Yeah.
Ryan handles the emails too, when we've been in contact with the like kind of the creators, but not really the creators. I wouldn't put it past him and be like, yo, just send me like the movie.
I've been playing it.
Yeah,
I've been playing it this whole time. TJ is like, how are you doing this?
It's just off screen while he's recording.
Can't wait to play and to talk to everybody about it. We'll talk more and maybe film some of it. We'll see. Next up, we are going now to our main topic, which is all about our conversation with Adam Bradford, all about the Invincible role-playing game. We were lucky enough to have him join us for not only that conversation, but then we played the game for like 2.5 hours. Guys, what do you want to say beforehand? Like, what do you want to tell people about before we go into this?
My biggest takeaway. Go ahead, TJ. Go ahead.
No, good. No, go ahead.
My biggest takeaway is that I'm mad at how long it's going to be until the game is out, because all I want to do is play more. Like, I had such a fun time. It was so like, it was everything that like I kind of expected a tabletop RPG to be, where we're being kind of silly throughout, but we're also like trying to problem solve and like figure out what's the most effective way to do things. And so it was this combination of like kind of silly storytelling with also like fun gameplay mechanics. And like, I need to keep being robot, so I need to play more.
Yeah. When he was like explaining how it works, at first I was like, how isn't this just like sitting around playing make-believe? Like how as the GM or the game master do you like
it is though?
How do you do this?
It is, but there has to be,
and that's so. And then we played it, and the first half hour, like the first round of everybody like doing it is like, thank God I'm not going first. Oh my God, I'm gonna fucking suck at this. And then you just kind of get it, and I can't. To Wyatt, like when he was like, "Oh, there is no more." Like that's literally all there is right now. Until, and I'm like,
I know.
Wait a minute. We can't do this and then not fucking like. I want to know what happens later. Like
we watched one episode of the show, and then they're like, "Oh, episode 2's coming out next
and
year."
It has such a cool cliffhanger. And to be clear to anybody listening and didn't know, this was the first time any of us has ever played an RPG, any type of like tabletop game like this, role playing game. And so, we're a little bad at it at first, but Adam did. I don't think we could have asked for a better teacher, a better introduction to role playing. He not only did such a good job taking care of us and explaining the rules and how to play this kind of game, but he's also like one of the most, if not the most knowledgeable person when it comes to the Invincible universe in such a cool way.
I felt like an asshole. I was like, well, we shouldn't be doing the podcast. Like, obviously this guy knows his shit. So when it first started out, he alluded to me, and I'm like, I didn't know what I should be doing. So I was like, I couldn't even answer his question, because I thought like, I need to like roll to like have like a thought or something, or like make a movement. And he was just like, oh, like what's Rex doing right now? And I was like, I don't fucking know what he's doing. But then like,
do I roll to see what he's doing?
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And then you just kind of fall into it. And Rex was a lot of fun to play too, because he has a very unique personality, and I had fun like coming up with like insults and quips and stuff. So it was very cool.
Falling into it is a good way to put it, because we all just kind of like are on the edge, and it's like, oh, okay, this is how we do it. So it does take a little bit of us warming up, but again, he does a great job of introducing any new players or anybody interested in it into how that happens.
He does a great Mauler twin voice as well.
Yes, he did a Mauler twin. He did the voice of the pilot of the hovercraft thing. He did Cecil. And he's got a thick Southern accent too, and he was able to change. And like when he like played, we were playing. We were like little kids playing with action figures. Like it's literally what it felt like. So it was cool. It was
a lot of
cool.
fun.
I never thought I'd have fun doing it.
Our entire playthrough is already out there. It's on our YouTube. Go check it out. And while you're there, like and subscribe,
There should be a link to it here. Hopefully, if you haven't already watched it, you're checking this out because you watched that. Either way, let us know. Let us know what you think of it. Let us know if you want to see us do more of these when the game comes out. And again, be kind. We are learning for the first time. Hope you enjoy the interview with Adam, and go check out the game over on Kickstarter. It should still be live as of this coming out. And we're gonna see you after the break. We'll be right back with issue spotlight with TJ. So see you soon. Welcome back, everybody. So last February, there was the announcement of the Invincible Roleplaying Game by Free League, and we talked about it on the podcast. We talked about how we all had never really gotten into a tabletop RPG before and were really interested. And so here we are months later, and the Invincible Role-Playing Game is live as of right now over on Kickstarter, successfully funded. And we are joined by the writer and narrative director, Adam Bradford. Welcome to the show, Adam.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I'm a fan.
Oh, thank you very much.
I hardly ever listen to podcasts. Like I it's just one of those things that I don't have much time for, but I do actually listen to this one at least occasionally. So kudos.
I appreciate that, man. So man, we want to hear all about what led to this, what it's been like creating and just playing in the world of Invincible. Obviously, we're huge fans, so we want to talk a little bit about that and the behind the scenes of how this came to be, and then we'll talk a bit more about what the game is actually like.
Yeah, so a huge Invincible fan. Definitely some kindred spirits here, I know. So I collected the comic since the very first release of the first issue. Followed along the way. There were a couple of times there, a poor college student maybe didn't quite buy it monthly, but I always, caught up and everything, and ended up, picking up through the entire 144 issue run. It's my favorite comic series of all time. People, all those questions that always come up: who's your favorite comic character? Who's your, all these things. I don't, Invincible's not my favorite character, but for sure it's my favorite series. Like, I absolutely love, just what Robert Kirkman and Ryan Ottley and Corey have put together for the book, and love this idea of progression and the idea that there weren't just endless retcons constantly throughout the entire run, because that's just plagued so many the big two so much and everything else. And so Invincible has always just held this really special place in my heart. And the game itself, that's the other love. So it's always been comics and superheroes. From the first one, I bought X-Men #1, the Jim Lee launch of the second volume. That was the first superhero comic I ever bought, and I bought that the day that the X-Men the animated series came on. So I saw that the premiere. I think I was 10 or 11. I went and told my mom, like, hey, I want a comic book. Have you ever heard of a comic book? So went and bought that day, and have been collecting ever since. And so from that, have loved that, but then also picked up this West End Games was the publisher, but it was a Star Wars tabletop role-playing game that came out in the 80s, and it was the 90s before I played it, but played that as my first tabletop role-playing game, and those have been really my two big loves for all these decades since. And so as soon as I started thinking through, like, hey, I haven't loved any superhero tabletop role-playing games in the last many years. Maybe I just need to make one. And so then I was like, hey, Free League is the best publisher out there. Love everything that they're doing. And I was talking to Thomas Herenstam, the co-writer and designer that's working on this from Free League, at Gen Con, that big gaming convention, probably 4 years ago, and said, hey, have you thought about making a superhero game with your in-house system? The Year Zero engine is what it's called. And he said, I would love to. I love the old TSR Marvel games. want to make a superhero game, but we don't really know what property or what setting we would use for it. And I said, I've got the setting for you. And at the time, he had never he had heard of Invincible, but was not very familiar with it. It was a little bit before the show came out.
Okay.
And so then we caught up a year or so after the show came out, and he was like, hey, I saw the show. I've got the comics and I'm reading through them right now. Like maybe we should do this. And so they already had a relationship with Skybound because they worked on a game called The Electric State.
Right.
And with that game, Skybound distributes this art book that's based on. And so we reached out to Skybound. I put together a pitch deck, like a literal pitch deck. It's I've got the slide deck that I'll share one of these days, I'm sure. But I have to say it was a beautiful deck. Put it together, and I guess Skybound was sold on it, and we signed a contract with them, and then we've been making the game for the last many months at this point in time. So it's been an incredible ride.
That's great. Yeah, like you mentioned Free League. TJ and I were at Gen Con a couple of years ago, and I remember distinctly stopping by that booth because anything that has like just the production quality, the artwork, it looked so great. And we were fans of both Alien and Blade Runner. And we walk by this booth and we see both of those things. And we at TJ even sent Bill, I don't know if you guys remember this, a picture of this awesome Alien and maybe even the Blade Runner RPG book. And it's like, man, that's
from this company.
Yeah, Free League.
No way. Yeah. I've always this will be the first like role-playing game that I've ever done in my entire life. So, and I'm nervous that it will open a door for me.
It probably will, to be honest. Yeah, it is. So just to check with everyone, like no one has played D&D before, like none of these games.
No, but we have all played a lot of board games and video games. Like we are right on that cusp of like.
Yeah, you are a target audience, as they say. Yeah,
and I've had a couple of the trips down, like, oh, let me give this Critical Role a watch, and gone, a little bit into that, but never really in depth as much.
Yeah. Critical Role has truly transformed, the entire hobby. And with Critical Role, I worked on while I was at D&D Beyond. So I founded D&D Beyond, and it was the official digital tool set for Dungeons and Dragons. So that's where I got my start in this industry several years ago. And gosh, I think it's been 8 years ago or something at this point. Time really flies.
So is that what made it possible for people to play remotely or easier?
Yeah, well, basically there were things called virtual tabletops because we'll actually talk about that a little bit later. That virtual tabletops are ways for people to be remote like you are right now, to come together at that virtual table and actually play the games. So those did exist, 8 years ago for sure. But what D&D Beyond did was it took some of the elements that those VTTs weren't doing so well. So like creating characters, reading the game content itself. So, PDFs of course existed back then, but D&D specifically did not distribute PDFs. And so people, if they wanted to read them, they had to, I've got a bookshelf over here of these just massive tomes that you had to haul around with you. And so D&D Beyond took, character creation, which historically, you could be in a session for 3 hours to create your character. I mean, it's a very big process, right? And so D&D Beyond, took that down to 15 minutes. You could have a character, completed. And so it really, did a lot to change the industry. It was really exciting times. And we decided to partner. And, I think at this point, it's still the biggest sponsorship deal that's ever been done in our industry. But we partnered with Critical Role at the start of their second campaign, which they're about to start their fourth campaign. But at the start of their second campaign, and it was one of the most just successful partnerships I've ever been involved with, because just super mutually beneficial. And I got to see firsthand, I got to see all the behind the scenes data of just how much Critical Role was transforming, our industry. Yeah. It was really interesting to watch. But yeah, it was the industry is in a really great place. The hobby is in a really interesting place. And as you are all just coming into it literally for the first time here, I am afraid, Bill, that you're going to want, like, so if you're an Alien fan, for instance, then we don't have to do it on the podcast, but we can play that at some point and you will lose your mind. Because
that's one of the things I have watched. Because I was curious about the same engine that uses the Invincible game. And so when they announced that, I tried to do some research. I'm like, how is this going to even play? What is it like? So I watched a little bit of an Alien one and it was pretty cool.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So yeah,
everyone loves to roll dice. Everyone, loves to tell stories. Deep down, where I don't want to get too philosophical here, but we are all connected to storytelling. There's this primal need to tell stories, and really, out of all of the things that I've tried over the years, of course, I've played board games and video games and every kind of game. Huge sports fan, so literally just gaming all the time. But at the end of the day, this is my first love because it is a way for you to experience creativity and imagination and improvisation. And just like when you felt like if you were the Narrative in Morrowind or something, and you're playing through the Elder Scrolls games and you feel like, man, I am a badass. Like I am this hero. I remember the first time I played Fable. And I walk into town and like Chicken Chaser and all this. And then later on, I walk into the same town after I've done some cool shit. And it's basically like, oh my gosh, like Liberator, like, thank you for coming back to our little humble town, and you feel like a hero. These games, these tabletop role-playing games, you feel like a hero more than anything else I've done because you get to kind of inhabit that character to a degree that just isn't possible in some of these other mediums.
Yeah. So bringing it to Invincible, how was it trying to not? I don't know if the word adapt is correct, but like you're getting to find a way to kind of dive into these stories, into these books in a way that we've done casually on this show, but at such a level where you're, you know what I mean? Like, can you tell me more about what that has been like?
Yeah, you always hear the thing that if you really want to learn something, teach it, and I would go a step farther than that to say, if you really want to learn something, write a role-playing book, right? Because there's this fascinating thing that happened in the 80s. So Star Wars was dead, right? You had Return of the Jedi came out. There was nothing happening. And then, all of a sudden, nobody knew about prequel trilogies or anything at that point. And so when they started the expanded universe to write all those novels, Courtship of Princess Leia, and like all these great books, as they were starting all of that, what they did for a setting Bible for the people that were coming in is they handed them copies of the West End Games tabletop role-playing game, because when you start playing these games, players ask questions that you probably don't cover in the media typically. Like, we don't talk about bathrooms much in the Star Wars universe, but when it comes to like, hey, I'm about to play this game, that is probably going to come up at some point in time. And so they had to, so all of these alien species like the Rhodians, the Ithorians didn't have a name before that tabletop role-playing game. So all of those started happening in that tabletop role-playing game. And that has happened many times over the years where these universes have been able to be really mined deeply, but then also expanded through these games. And so when it came to Invincible, we're not expanding a lot yet, but we are absolutely. So if somebody is trying to come in and is, wants a Cliff's Notes version of what happens in the comic, or a little, color commentary and ways to remember like the sequence of events and all, you're going to get that to a large degree in this game. And so when I'm writing everything and I'm having to talk about, colorblind water, and I'm having to, all these things, there is so much research that goes into that. And so I have read the entire 144 issues of Invincible cover to cover. I don't even know how many times at this point. And so it's just one of these things where it's like, diving into that has been so much fun for me as a fan. But then also I think that it's going to, really be something for other fans to be able to pick up this game and see how much it feels like Invincible, because not only are, those lore elements, those narrative elements, weaving into to capture that feel. The mechanics of the game are very specifically made in a way to do that. Invincible is, of course, very, very bloody compared to a lot of 4-color comics out there. And our game system, whereas a lot of superhero tabletop RPGs in the past have shied away from that because it's more Marvel, it's more DC Saturday morning cartoon stuff. This is a place where you can get your head crushed in if something goes badly during the game, and the Free League system really, really supports that. And so capturing that has been an important thing. And then the other thing, as far as adapting it goes, is you all know that Invincible is just this wonderful love letter to superhero comics, right? It's not The Boys. I like The Boys also, right? But The Boys is this deconstruction. It's almost like it's written by somebody that doesn't like superhero comics, and again, it has its place and it's good stuff. But Invincible, what Robert and the creators did here was they wanted to express love toward this genre. And so they put in so many of the classical elements. You've got your capes, you've got your energy blasts, you've got all the things, like all the tropes that you would expect, but then it updates a lot of things, it subverts tropes in surprising ways, and then obviously it takes this really wonderful 4-color pastiche and then splatters blood all over it, right? And so it's like it's just such a striking thing. And so the other thing that this game does is, if you're not wanting to run Invincible and you're wanting to quote unquote just run a superhero game, you can absolutely do that with these rules. But then we've added kind of those extra layers to make sure that we're capturing what Invincible is trying to accomplish.
So how much of it is us playing through the events of or in the world, and how much of it is something brand new?
This is truly structured make-believe. Is the best way that I have ever heard these games described. It is structured make-believe, just like when you were a kid and you were trying to, you found some cool looking stick in the yard that had like one of those balls on it. It's like, oh, I've got a mace, and it's like Scourge of Twin Galaxies. And so, did not happen back then, but it would today. But basically, as that's happening though, that structured make-believe, there is absolutely, one of the hardest things, roles in the game is the game master. So the person that's kind of running it and facilitating play for the rest of the players. So, there is more involved in that. You have to kind of set the stage. You have to describe the world. You have to prompt the players. You have to do this in a way that you can describe things. Sometimes you have visual aids, which we try to provide as many of those as we can. We'll see a map, when we actually play. But so with that, the game master has to really do that world setting and setting the table for you. And then after that, though, it truly is up to the players. So whatever, you try to get into your character and role play your character. So when we play, we're going to play with some pre-generated characters that we all know and love. And obviously TJ was going to be Rex. Everybody knows that that's going to happen. But ultimately, when you're playing these characters, you try to act as if you were those characters. Or in the game, another huge part of this, because people love to be creative with this, is you can make your own hero. And we actually have this. We have these things called archetypes, which are the best way to describe them to someone that is familiar with video games is almost like a loadout. So it's like, you have this ability to go in and say, hey, I want to play a vigilante. Well, here's this archetype loadout that is going to suggest powers and attribute scores and all these things that are going to kind of make you into what would work as a vigilante. And when you do that, we also do things, the hardest part about coming up with a comic character is the names. So we have, a few names that can hopefully like inspire, or that you can just use as is, and you can just jump into the action like that. But even if it's your own character, you're thinking about their personality. You're thinking about what drives them, what their flaws are, all those things. And so it helps you get into the head of that character. And so with familiar characters, that might be easier, especially for big fans. and you're trying to act like those characters. And so that means that the game master doesn't actually know what you're going to do. Now, there's some good guesses that, like, you're probably going to blast this bad guy or try to defeat this bad guy. But that's part of what makes the game and the hobby in general so incredible, is you really never know exactly what that's going to be. And you don't have an edge to the map. You don't have that mountain that you can't climb in the Elder Scrolls. You really do have this free reign on what ends up happening there. And so after the game master sets the stage, you as players can decide what your characters do. And sometimes that can be as simple as just blasting or punching the bad guy in the face. And that is good fun for these games a lot of the times. But some of the really special moments are when players come up with really creative solutions to problems. And there's a big part of these games that is that collaborative storytelling, that you as players are giving me something that might spark some kind of idea, and then I can tie that off and kind of close the loop on it, and we end up with this really epic story that we're all ultimately telling together.
I gotta say, something that I feel like I had kind of struggled with wrapping my head around how RPGs are played, as somebody who played a lot of board games and video games, was like trying to understand how the gameplay works and how, what do you mean? Like, there's no definitive result. Like, and I think it wasn't until recently, like very recently, that I was like, it's more about the narrative. It's more of the choose your own adventure mad gab. It's more the just like fill in the blanks type of story. It's more, let's just like have the improv kind of session, like you were saying before.
That's exactly right. And there is just a ton of yes and that needs to happen with it. But and some groups are absolutely going to play these games. When Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson originally made Dungeons and Dragons, it was based on kind of this game called Chainmail. It was a miniatures war game, and that so they're in its earliest iterations, these games were definitely a little more static and a little more hey, I'm playing against the game master, or dungeon master. I'm playing against them. It was an adversarial relationship to a degree, and the game and the hobby has really evolved over the many years since into, again, more of a collaborative storytelling experience. And that's not to say, though, that especially in Invincible, if Rex gets subdued and forced down to his knees and King Lizard is standing over him with a pistol, then it's probably going to end badly for Rex, right? But at the end of the day, that's this great story. Even in the comics, that was this great story of Rex overcoming something improbable, all the things that happen there, right? But that can happen in these games too. Bad things can happen. And one of the mechanics that I love that is in place here in our game is we have something called a critical injuries table. And this is something that's in a lot of Free League games. It's in Alien and it's pretty gruesome. But ultimately, with this critical injuries table, if you get damaged past your health, then ultimately what happens is you roll on this table and you see what happens to your character. And this could, if you roll a 1 on that table, then you might have a torn to shreds costume and you got to get that repaired. But if you get into the worst things on that table, there can be some really bad things that happen to you. But as long as you are still alive, there are these mechanics where you can rally up from that. So we see this in the comics all the time, right? We just saw in the season finale of the animated show with Mr. Conquest. There's this idea that it's like, hey, this is too much. This character is down, but then they're able to rally themselves and come back up and get a second wind, and they're going at it again. But then it's like the more that you do that, the deeper on that critical injuries table you can get, and the worse off it can be. So it's this risk and reward kind of factor to deciding that. So it definitely, the thing that I think people do sometimes misunderstand about these games is, I'm even saying it's structured make-believe. There is still that word structured there. and there are still rules that are kind of governing or strongly guiding what ends up happening, because no game can have rules that will cover every single circumstance a player might think of, but the general principles and kind of concepts behind those rules can help game masters, especially people who have played it for a little while, to be able to educate, basically, like, hey, this is what should happen based on the way that the rest of these rules work. And so there really is kind of again that collaboration, learning over time. But ultimately, you are right. The point of the game, I don't want to say that it's all about the journey, because that's not it. Because like the destination is really cool in these games too, but it is about the story that you're telling. That really is kind of key.
Awesome. All right. Well, before we actually play, because you're getting me so excited to actually play this now.
I was going to say, this has been the best pitch whatsoever. I know, right? To actually jump in. I'm very excited.
Anything else you want to talk about, as far as what's coming in this or what's down the pipe here?
Yeah, I don't know. I should have asked you this before we started, but are we going to get this out before the end of the Kickstarter? Do we think
that's the goal? Yep.
Awesome.
At least this part. Yeah, definitely.
Y'all are pros. That's awesome. So yeah, this is Kickstarter going on right now. We've unlocked several stretch goals. Very excited about a new variant cover for Invincible #1. That is just here it is right here. So,
hey, cool.
This was a concept
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it was a concept that I came up with of like, I want the Grayson family around the table playing, because this happens in some of the other games that I've played over the years.
Oh yeah,
I was like, this has got to happen. And so we tapped Todd Knock, who has done, of course, art on Invincible Universe and everything.
Yeah,
and he's just so good. I've loved a lot of his X-Men '97.
There's even some great little Easter eggs in the art, which is so awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's little things like popcorn's my favorite snack, and so it's like popcorn's on the table, so it's just little things like that.
They've got Cancelock gummies. I think the soda is Kirkman's name or something like that. There's a few things. It's pretty great.
Yeah. There's several really cool things that are happening here. So this is really an honor to be able to reprint, because Skybound's really cut down on the variant covers, especially for issue #1. So for role-playing fans that have never jumped into the comic, this is a great opportunity for them to start with issue 1 and maybe start their journey there. But very excited about the adventure content. We have the possibility of launching this game when the full release happens with really more content than any game I've seen in recent memory. Because I think we've already unlocked 3 extra adventures that I'm going to be writing for this. One that is centered around Midnight City. One that is, apparently a misunderstanding with Atlantis on the surface world. And then another one that we're trying, I think we're about to unlock or trying to unlock the next one that is Flaxen involved. And we've got several others that we could potentially unlock. So definitely back. There's going to be so much, content for this game. We've got so many plans too. Sometimes people kickstart games and they maybe leave the proverbial babies on doorsteps. That it's like it's a one and done. That's all for the game. But that's not what we're up to here. We've got a ton of plans. One of the things I'm really excited about is the Invincible universe in the comics has not really explored street level heroes at all. But the game really ties into, there are 4 different ranks that you can play at: teen upstarts, street defenders, global guardians, and then cosmic champions. And so basically at those different ranks of play, you have obviously can tell different kinds of stories. And so I'm really excited about the street level stuff that we kind of have in mind, because that will introduce some new corners of the universe that could be really fun for people, especially people that might be fans of Daredevil and Frank Miller's run and all that kind of stuff. It could be really cool to play that out in the Invincible universe.
Heck yeah, awesome. I don't know if there's anything else we want to touch on. I know the Kickstarter is going for probably about another week or so by the time this video goes up. Yep. So everybody can follow it there and look it up. And yeah, I think that does it. Like I said, I'm excited to play. We're going to go to that. That'll probably be a separate video. We'll have that linked and everything. Adam, thank you so much for this pitch and for talking about it. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Of course.
Thanks, man.
Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that chat with Adam. And again, go check out the Invincible role-playing game over on Kickstarter. And yeah, let us know if you want to see us do more Invincible role-playing. Go check out the full video. It's a long one, but we'll have it time-stamped and broken out into parts and everything too. So while we're back, before we wrap up this episode, TJ, it is your turn to bring to us from all 144 plus issues of Invincible, an issue of Invincible that we don't know what you brought. What have you got for us this?
Would you like to take a guess?
I had a guess, but I don't know what number it is. You guys go.
I'm gonna say, just for the fun of it, to do like a big one, since I'm always thinking ahead. We're always thinking ahead as the next season, and we haven't done, at least from our notes here, we haven't done 75. So I'm gonna guess 75.
It's not
What's 75?
It's the Viltrumite War.
75 is Viltrumite War stuff. Yeah.
I can't find the issue, and I don't remember off the top of my head, so I'm just gonna guess. Is it an issue with Philip Schaff?
It is not.
Oh,
Is it an issue
57?
Is it off Earth?
No.
Oh,
It takes place on Earth.
shit.
It's a good way to narrow it down, Bill.
Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh, shot. That's
I don't have a further guess.
Yeah, that was my one guess. So
Well, are you gonna give a number, or is that your guess?
Well, I don't have the list in front of me. It's on Earth and it's you.
If you tell me a guess, I'll tell you if we already did it, Bill, because I've got it.
So do I.
Okay.
I
Is
don't
this just
know.
the whole podcast? This is just going to be.
Yeah. Tell us.
It is issue 99.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Bill, do you
Great
know
one.
what you?
We did. I thought we did 99.
I don't think so.
99
Not on the list.
is right before Invincible gets ripped in half. Right?
Looking at it, no.
We did do issue 100.
We did 100. I did 100 last time, I thought.
I think you did 100. Yeah, not that long ago. 99
It's the
though.
flood.
I'm excited
99
for
is the-
it.
Nope.
It is.
99
it's
is
already
not.
happened. The flood has
Yeah,
kind
it
of
already happened.
But 99, not to jump ahead to this issue, but why I'm so excited. This is the one that is the full issue that's all splash pages throughout, right? It's just a full page the whole time, each one. Like,
yep, every page is a full splash page, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
All right, so let me find my notes here. Okay, so this is issue 99. Issue 100, as we know, is The Death of Everyone. And issue 98 ends with Dinosaurus flooding all the major cities in the world. And it ends, issue 98 ends with Invincible saying, "You're killing everyone." Issue
And
99.
Not to cut you off already, TJ, because Ryan brought up the cover. I will say this is one of the best Invincible covers, period. Like, it is Invincible, all bloody, all the characters all bloody, like collapsed on top of what looks like a collapsed building, punching the teeth off of a dinosaur. Like, if ever I was going to give somebody an issue cover to be like, this is what Invincible is, this feels like such a perfect one, because it's like slightly absurd and crazy with this big dinosaur. It's the cool superhero fight on top of a collapsed building. I love this cover.
I feel like I didn't give it the props it deserved when it first came out, because I was taken so much by the well, obviously those aren't all going to die. This isn't like looking too literally at it and not kind of appreciating just how badass it is. It is so cool. It is an awesome cover.
So good.
There's a lot of action that is happening too. Like, obviously Dinosaurus just slashed Invincible's chest, and at the same time Invincible's punching Dinosaurus. So there's things that
close up to the cover as well.
Like if you take a second to actually look at it, as opposed to oh my god, it's The Death of Everyone Part 3, let's just crack it open. Yeah. Good job, Ryan Ottley.
So yeah, again, 98 ends with Invincible saying, "You're killing everyone." 99 opens with Dinosaur saying, "This isn't the death of everyone." And he's saying that this is just thousands and thousands of people, but the death of thousands of people will ultimately save millions of people. So he's explaining that. Mark says, no, you're insane. You ruined it. You ruined everything. And then we get Robot, who's at the base, and he's directing the Guardians, Capes, Chupacabra, the Wolf Corps, and the Actioneers, and other heroes all over the world, kind of directing them on saving people and where to go, what to do. And he's working with Cecil through comms to stop the flood and coming up with plans to stop all the flooding. So Invincible attacks Dinosaurus, and he's saying that like Mark's an accomplice now, and that Dinosaurus basically made him a mass murderer. Dinosaurus insists that there was no other way, and he says that Invincible has never been able to beat him in the past, so why even bother trying now? There's really no point, and that he should just join Dinosaurus because of all the things that they could do together and all the good that they could do to save the world together. Then, probably this might be my favorite scene of the issue. We get a scene of Thrag in space with all the Viltrumites. By the way, we should have said this beforehand, but if you're listening to this podcast, you should know this is wild spoilers. So
also by you saying, hey, this is issue 99.
Yeah. So I would hope that they would know that that's past the show if they don't read the comic.
Yeah, this is past the show.
So we get a scene with Thrag in space with a ton of Viltrumites, and he's telling them like, hey, there's a lot going on Earth right now. You are not to interfere. Whatever's happening on Earth needs to happen on Earth. Let it happen. And he's like, we just came out of the Scourge virus, and that was kind of a scare for us. We're not going to deal with this. We need to hold back. Let it happen. What's going to happen? And then he says, I understand. I've come to understand that there are people here who have grown attached to their chosen mates. Doesn't matter. Whatever's going to happen, it needs to happen. And do not disobey me. You are to obey my orders. And then you see General Krieg kind of like look off with concern. Love that. Foreshadowing. Then we get Bolt from Capes, and he's talking to Robot, and he's just telling them about their progress. He's talking to one of Robot's, like, robots. And he's talking about their progress and saving people. And then
can I just drop a quick pin in here for just a second?
Please.
We've got the return of Capes coming out in 1 month, by the way. Yeah. When we were just talking about all the things we've got coming up, Capes Monthly comes back next month, November 11th. I'm sorry, November 19th. So a little over a month. Crazy.
Capes, Wolfman, and Tech Jacket.
Well, Wolfman and Tech Jacket as trade paperbacks, yeah. But ongoing monthly comic of Capes.
Yeah, that's crazy. But as Bolt is talking to Robot gets a notification in his ear saying, "Oh, they've located Invincible and Dinosaurus, and they're moving in." And then we see them fighting, and there's a news helicopter that is hovering above them. So while they're still fighting, Invincible tells Dinosaurus he was stupid to ever have trusted him. He wanted them to save the world, not destroy it. To bring balance to the force, not leave it in darkness. Not to. He says Dinosaurus has to die. Dinosaurus says that he knows what he's doing is right, and Invincible can't convince him otherwise. He knows he has the data to show that what he's doing is going to ultimately, save the world. So if that's the case, then Invincible is the one that needs to die. So they're fighting, and again, you're getting full page after full page. The colors in this issue, oh my, it's so good. So they're fighting. A building collapses down on top of them, and then Dinosaurus comes up from the rubble, and he's holding Mark's body. And Dinosaurus looks up at the helicopter, and he goes, "Good, they should see this. The world should see this." And he says, if you're going to keep standing in my way, then you need to die. And then the last page, it shows Dinosaurus with his hands on either side of Mark's head, and he's starting to squish it, and you could see Mark's face elongated with a very scared look on his face.
They're starting to pop out.
And this takes me back so much. Like I've thought about this issue before, but I don't know why you bring it up, and I wasn't expecting to. It reminds me of reading this month to month when I was like, I believe I was still in like the credential program for school at the time, and I remember reading this issue and the ending of it being like, oh, there's always a cliffhanger. Like he'll get out of this, however. And then I remember weeks later the preview coming out for issue 100 and being on the like Image forums at the time and people freaking out, being like, oh my God, it happens. And then immediately people being like, wait, in issue 99, when the building's collapsing, you can see a yellow portal. Like maybe he swapped somebody, and there was all these theories.
That's crazy.
And it was such a fun time to like be on Image forums and like reading theories from people that were talking about. This was all pre-podcast, so that was where I was getting the fix of people, you know, breaking down and like talking about theories of what could be happening. It was such a crazy when that preview for issue 100 came out. It was such a like people were pouring over issue 99 looking for clues for how it could work.
I missed that. I remember we were reading it, you know, month to month, and I just know that Robert Kirkman, you know, he likes to go big. He likes the big monument issues and everything, keystone issues. Of course, he's not going to end with that. I was like, of course he's going to crush his head. I just didn't know how it would continue. I was like, how are they going to figure out a way to undo this, or is he going to stay dead or anything like that? But I had no doubt that it is going to continue. So I knew that when the preview came out and it showed it, I don't even think I saw it. I just knew the way people were talking about it. But I never saw in 99 that it had the little portal and everything like until afterwards. Very cool.
That was, I vividly remember this was one of the issues that we all read together at your house.
Really?
Right? Yeah.
That's so 100%. Funny. Guys.
Yeah, because I remember Wyatt, like you said, or Ryan, like you said, like they squashed his head, and you're like, all right, now what's going to happen? And then the next thing is him tearing him in half. We're like, okay.
Oh, we went
going on here.
Yeah.
100. Yeah, and 100.
Yeah.
But we did, but I feel like we did almost every month together around this time.
Familiar. Because a lot of times we would get each other's and then bring it over and read it.
Right. Yeah.
Man. Good stuff. Good issue.
That's gotta be a season 5 end of episode cliffhanger, right?
I was about to ask.
The head.
There's no way you end a season on it.
No, not a season. No. Yeah.
I could see it being the penultimate episode ending.
I think.
And then the next,
I think
the finale.
I think they would. I think it would be sick if they ended a season on squashing his head, and that's how it ends. Could you imagine?
Crazy, Bill. You just want to watch the internet like light on fire.
Imagine! Oh my God, dude! Oh my God! I couldn't. It's like Infinity War. People are like, "Holy fucking shit!" Like everyone's dead. How are they gonna do it?
It would be the best way to sell people on like finally going and reading the comic. Be like, oh, you don't know what happens, or you think this happens? Go read the comic.
Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. Can't wait. Oh man, we're getting closer and closer. I've been really itching for a rewatch of season 3 as we've been getting closer. I was just listening to the soundtrack on the way home tonight. But write in. Let us know what you're most excited for in the coming weeks. What you're most excited for that was announced at New York Comic Con. The Invincible Podcast at gmail.com. Leave a comment, subscribe, do all those fun things. It helps us out. We get to, be in front of more people, increase our views, and all that goes a really long way. So we really appreciate it. Thank you all for watching. We will be back soon, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. I don't understand how this is going to work.
Yeah,
I'm gonna tell you.
I know by the end of this. I know by the end of this, I'm gonna have a full understanding, and it's gonna blow my fucking mind. But I just don't understand how the scope of something like this can work. So I'm ready for you to prove me like wrong, because I'm doubtful. I'm like, what is this?
2 hours later.
Oh my God. I had a legitimate like good time. Like that was
That's fine.
once we started going,